Saturday, January the 29th, 2022, number 3498 of the Anachronisms. I posted the three poems on that date. Hopscotch Bottle Rocket. Hopscotch Bottle Rocket is what it's called. Someone hollers, "Hot body lost in space. What the hell are you gonna do there, sister girl?" In the general direction of a family of 3 or 4 or 5. The screaming lady pauses afterwards, staring a bit over the heads of the family up toward the sky, and then she's off as quickly as she appeared and is soon out of sight. The family starts a bit at the loud query, seemingly addressed to them, or to the twilight-soaked sky that's just above their precious heads. And one can, if one were to bear witness, see that each individual seems to have taken her words in such a way as if they had been personally addressed to herself or himself. The slightest of them all, who might be a little girl of 5 or 6, stops the quickest in her tracks and begins to look more and more alarmed, even after the yelling lady is long gone. She was coming undone, had a stark look of alarm covering her entire visage that inevitably transitioned into a transparent pout, which soon had a quivering lip that predicted a stream of crocodile tears that came only moments after that. It turns out the little girl with the heart of gold was overwhelmed with worry and grief and was trying desperately to devise a plan to rescue whomever it was, and she had some ideas about who the unfortunate soul was, to rescue them. The father of the crew, I shall call him that, aligns in rapturous thought with those thoughts of his teenaged twin boys, for all 3 of them last all focused directly after the first 2 words of the diatribe that had been screamed at, or over the general direction of their identical haircuts. Hot body, which has them each embarked upon separate and quite personal trips. Oh, they're not going anywhere physically. The entire family stands stock still for what seems like an eternity after the loud words are so hurled. Which is to say that a certain electrical zing begins to permeate their midsections, by which I mean that area above the knees that falls below the imaginary horizontal line one might draw in one's mind at each navel. So, below the belly button, as it were. As for good old, and do not even think of calling her that out loud, Mom? Well, who can truly tell what she might be thinking? It might be as cliche as something about lunch, which had more than likely been offered a few minutes previous to the family's stroll to a pizzeria to which the family gave patronage. Might even have been the establishment's best weekend customers. Not that there weren't the occasional weekdays as well. And was therefore turning a rather perfect shade of baked light brown as the order of pies sat in the rather uniquely sloped oven that the parlor's owner had shipped special some decade and a half previous, all the way from Sicily. But what if it is true as well that Mom has taken the earlier screamed words a bit more to heart? What if she had to utter with a voice that at first sounds a mite shaken, a bit weak, but crescendo up toward the decibel level of the words upon which the story began, that rises into a scream that forever alters the history of the family that had been so casually strolling the familiar blocks of sidewalk just minutes ago? She starts with a snapped, "Damn right," expressed in an unsure vibrato, but then comes, "What in the hell am I doing here?" Deliberate, her confidence rising as she admits in verbal assault at the universe, lost as I am, lost as I've been for so many years. And then she turns a quick 180, walks herself home. Dad and the boys, with pizza on the brain, give her a brief look that might be a combination of disgust and surprise, and then begin to amble their way without her to the pizzeria, without even really considering the items. Pulls a few things from drawers and cabinets and closets and tosses them into a bag that is not quite large enough to be called a suitcase. Walks the bag out to the beige-colored sedan that is parked in the carport. Hops in the car after tossing the bag in the back seat, keys the ignition, and reverses the car out of the driveway, kicking up a bit of gravel along the way. backs into the highway in front of the house in which she somehow existed for nearly 20 years, aptly called Main Street, and speeds off into the distance, never to be seen or heard from again by what will become a more out of sorts, disturbed, and depressed family of now only 2 or 3 or 4.